All right, this is the last basic lesson. This is called measurement. And that sounds like a simple thing, but measurement can get pretty complicated. We have this picture here, and we have these different lengths of each of these segments. So essentially what this is saying is we got Joel's house here, and then we have how far it is from Shawan's house, the school, the mall, the pool, and the library. The ACT will tell you at the beginning that pictures are not drawn to scale, which means that if you were to get a ruler and you were to measure how long each of these are and compare them to each other, you shouldn't be able to tell how much bigger something is than another. And although that's true, pictures are not drawn to scale, I'm doing air quotes right now, a lot of times they are. But they just tell you that to cover their own butts when they're not drawn to scale. So what you can gather from this is, for sure, and when I say for sure, I mean for 90% sure, when a picture shows this segment here being the smallest, we can assume that the distance from his house to the mall is the shortest distance. It then looks like Shawan's house and the library about equal distance from his house. If you look, he's in the center of the square, 1, 2, 3 squares, center of the square, 1, 2, 3 squares. Since you're counting horizontally and vertically, it's easy to compare the distances. I would say then the school is a little bit farther away and the pool is the farthest away. Which segment is the longest? Well, I think that would be the segment to the pool. Which is the shortest? I would say that's to the mall. Which segments are the same length? Well, I would say that that would be Shawan's house and the bibliothèque. This problem here is supposed to find the value of x. Some things you can assume about this picture, even though it doesn't tell you this. Assume that if something appears to be a right angle, that it's a right angle. So we're assuming that's a right angle and so is this. In fact, each of these angles we're assuming are right angles. So what that does for us, it tells us that if the length of this side is 14 feet, then that means if you were to add up this length, and this length, that should also be 14 feet. So we could write the equation that 4.2 plus 4.2 plus x should equal 14. If you combine like terms, 4.2 and 4.2 is 8.4. Using the subtraction property, if you subtract 8.4 from both sides, or add a negative 8.4 to both sides, whatever toots your flute, you're going to get x equals 5.6. So we would expect that to be answer B. Some ridiculous answers here. Well, at least one that's ridiculous is 22.4. How could this small side be 22.4 when the whole length is 14? It's ludicrous. Luda! Perimeter, or perimeter, as they call it in Canada, that's the sum of the lengths of each side of a polygon. A polygon is a closed figure made up of segments, and each segment intersects other segments at their endpoints. So if you're supposed to find the perimeter of this, we're simply going to add 12 plus 12 plus 4. And that's going to give us 24 plus 4 is going to give us 28. So the perimeter, we add up the lengths of all the sides. And that's going to give us the perimeter. Another perimeter problem, what's the perimeter of the rectangle? Once again, you add the lengths of all the sides. 15 plus 15 is 30. 6 plus 6 is 12. That's going to make this 42. This next problem requires your knowledge of what a regular figure is. Find the perimeter of a regular polygon, in this case a regular octagon. Regular means that all these sides are the same length, and it means that all of the angles here have the same measure, which I won't mark all the angles because it's going to make the picture ugly. So if each side is 12.6 inches, and there are 8 sides, you multiply those together, and that's going to give you 100.8 inches. So to take away from this is regular means all the sides are the same length. To find the area of a rectangle, you multiply the base times the height. You could also call it length times width. I have no preference. So base could be this side here or this, and then the height is the other one. Same way with length and width. So for example, if you're told that this is 8 by 4, to find the area, you would multiply 8 times 4 and you would get 32. What area means? It's how many squares can fit inside of this object. So just to give you an idea what that means, if this is 4 units across, that means we could fit 1, 2, 3, 4. If it's 8 this way, that would be like this. So when you're asked for the area, it's how many square units can fit inside of it. So we have 8 this way and 4 this way. That's why it's 8 times 4, which is 32. You could count the spaces also. You're also going to get 32. So this area is 32 square units. We don't know what those units are. Could be feet, could be inches, could be sheep for all we know. How about we do a little something crazy like doing exercise set 8. Appreciate it.